and we'll let more people join as they arrive. So welcome everybody. It's great to see you all. I can see a few anyway. Not all cameras are on. This is our second EOcafe of the second season, and it's great to have these informal gatherings that I feel help to keep us all together as a community. We're always looking for ideas for EOcafe. It's a chat, so we want to keep it very informal. I've got my coffee. I hope everyone's got theirs. The concept is that we're in a cafe having a little conversation amongst a few of us, with others listening in and joining in later on as well. General rules: please keep your microphones off unless you're invited to speak. You can keep cameras on. We encourage to keep cameras on, but we do have a limitation on the number of cameras that can actually be seen, so you won't necessarily appear. Unfortunately, it's something we have to sort out. Have to upgrade our subscription, I think. For questions, as usual, please enter them in the chat. You've got a little bubble at the top right of the screen. If you click on that, you open up the chat box, put any chats in there. We'll follow them, and then if possible, I'll invite you to open your microphone and present your question personally. But please pose them first through the chat so that we can see what's coming. So today, as has been noted, I'm privileged to have a position in this panel, this all-female panel, to talk about the subject of women in space, or more precisely, women in Copernicus. We have three excellent speakers. Oh, thank you, that's great. Natalie Stefan, who is the project leader, works in the geometrology team in the Public Services of Wallonia. Dinka Dinkova, who is acting head of unit in DG DEFIS, responsible for international relations and communication. And Agnieszka Lukaszczyk, who is Senior Director European Affairs at Planet, and also Director of ERSC. So thank you all very much for participating today, and I'm sure we're going to have a very interesting discussion. I'm just looking. Just before, I'm going to throw a little bit of oil into the pot, because just before coming onto to open up the cafe, I came across this report that's just been published and was reported in the Guardian. It's about the COVID crisis, but it's a report by the Gates Foundation looking into the presence of women in the decision making of around COVID. We've seen how countries led by women are more successful than those led by men generally. But here is an interesting little snapshot. They looked at 6 countries and looked at the sort of the impact and the presence. This is a chart that was extracted showing the presence. So it's not just about Copernicus, it's not just about space. We know it's a societal-wide problem, but I'll just throw that on the screen to initiate the discussion. So today, we know that women are playing a very strong role in Copernicus, although maybe not always fully appreciated. Now I've got to find to give the screen to Natalie.
I try to take it.
No, I give it to you. Make presenter. There you are. So, women in Copernicus. Copernicus is an important program. Women are playing a very strong role, but not always as visible as might be expected, as we've just seen in terms of the COVID as well. So there was a study initiated by Natalie and others we'll hear from, to try to understand better the contribution that women are making and the barriers and how what their roles are, and look at it in a general way. In the ERSC industry survey, right at the beginning, we tried to look at the gender balance in the Earth observation industry, and it was about 30%. We looked at it again 2 years later, and it was still 30%. So we haven't looked at that particular parameter recently, that indicator. We will do next time, so we'll be issuing the survey fairly soon, and we'll look again at the gender balance, and maybe it will have changed, and we certainly hope so. But the survey was focused upon the perceptions of women working in Copernicus. There was an excellent response, but I don't want to take anything away from Natalie. So let me give you the floor, Natalie, to give a presentation about the study and the responses that you've had. Over to you.
So I try to make it. I'm not sure I can share my screen.
That's showing, that's fine.
That's okay?
Yep, it's good.
Okay, so good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, if there are some in the pool. So I'm really happy today to present the first result of the project Women in Copernicus. I'm happy to present, but also discuss with you. So the objective is really to have a discussion about these first results of our amazing survey, as you can see. So what we expect from you is, of course, reaction and debate, and perhaps also promotion and follow-up. So I will start the story with these few steps in the setup of this project. So it was starting with a one-night discussion with myself, so a bad night, in fact. And then I spent 2 days writing all these ideas. It was a weekend, so I get the approval also of my husband to do this writing. The week after, I spent time to spread out this writing to a lot of women, especially women, I think. Marie, Estefania, Gracia, Natasha, Aida, Barbara, Roya. And I get so many positive answers that finally in 2 weeks we managed to do a consortium, to do a proposal, and to submit it to coordinate on the 8th of March, Women Day. It was really already a success to arrive so fast to this level. And then we have been selected on the waiting list of the project, and we get the approval on the 12th of June. So finally, it means that we start our survey. That was the main objective of our project on mid-July, and this survey ended on beginning of September. So only 1.5 months to do this survey during summertime and COVID time.
Natalie, can I just interrupt you just a moment, because it seems that some people can't see your screen. Is it a wide problem, or is it just one or two who can't see the screen?
We can see it.
I can't. But, so it means some people can't. No.
So
I cannot.
We're getting, most people are saying they can see it. I don't know if that's still the case, because it's just a bit disappeared from me.
Do I have to? I will try to test again.
Yeah,
yes,
just do it again. If it doesn't work, then I'll take over and share my screen. Hopefully that would work better. So try again. You're not sharing at the moment, it would seem.
No, I will try again. So share. Then is it working?
For me, yes.
For me, no.
Yes.
Yep, that's
So
better.
yeah, for some people, yes. For some people, no.
Everyone,
okay, now yes.
Everyone responding is saying yes. So carry on, Natalie. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So just to remind you at the start of this presentation that there is no human resources paid on this coordinate project. It's only voluntary involvement. So we receive less than 10,000 euros from Coordinate, and it's only for website development and communication. The team of the WIC consortium is made of 3 partners. Brittany Remote Sensing Group France with Marie, Public Services of Wallonia in Belgium for myself, University of Jaime, Spain with Estefania. So that's the basis. And then we had a lot of partners, Nereus, Eurizi, Belspo, and Earth. And thank you, Earth, for this invitation to the EOcafe, and also University of Strasbourg and Salzburg. As you can see in this slide, our aim is to identify, inventory, understand, and gather stories of Copernicus women in order to give them a voice and a face. So our hypothesis in this project was that women were part of the Copernicus experience. They are there, but unfortunately, they are not always visible or not enough visible. So the project aims to identify positively the opportunities, but also negatively the obstacle in the path of these women. And in order to give them a voice and a face, inspire girls and women by bringing women to the forefront of Copernicus. What we did, as I told you already, a survey with asking questions about background, career, barriers, facilitators, and education choices. We did also another small survey with interview of open and personal questions in parallel. And of course, the first result of this project is for us a success. We received nearly 500 participants to this survey. So I think we can say that women are part of Copernicus. They are well present in this Copernicus program. They want to be visible because they really express themselves in the survey, even if it was only one summertime month. And they are really proud of their job. They want to talk about this job and they want to express themselves. Of course, they also perceive that there is a gender bias in their workplace. And positively, again, they propose solutions and tools to make Copernicus more gender-balanced workplace. The second point is this really high involvement of the participants in Copernicus. They are proud of their job. More than half of the participants described in a lot of detail their favorite accomplishment in Copernicus. These women are also proud of the results that are obtained by data processing, and the results are often user-oriented and innovative. They are proud of the democratization of data that is allowed by the Copernicus free data, and the job satisfaction is really high, 4 on the 5-level scores. This job satisfaction is one of the top facilitators in their career. Being satisfied is really important for them. Most respondent women, nearly 100%, in fact, work in the operational and downstream services. They are close to the users. They are using Copernicus data and services in the application. So the notion of user assistance in all the achievement, from training to support for operational services, is really important. More than half of the example of achievement mentioned by this woman are related to services or support dedicated to users. Unfortunately, this survey confirms the existence of gender bias that is still perceived during studies and careers. With high education, more than 50% of the participants have PhD. High expertise, they all say that they are around 4 on the 5 levels. And excellent technical skill, more than 4 on the 5 levels. The hierarchical level of this woman is not really high, it's around 3. So we can say that it's still difficult to be a woman in Copernicus. In fact, these women are proud of the result they obtain. However, only few of them claim to be experts or to be proud of their skill level. Being a minority is the main barrier identified by the women taking this survey. These women with education in STEM, for more than 70% of them, STEM, for remember, is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. These are identifying the barriers for the girls choosing this kind of education. Stereotypes, imbalance in gender figures, missing role models, the messages transmitted in culture and television, but also the lack of confidence that is still mentioned by a lot of women. To finish or go further in this result of the survey, I want to make a positive attitude and conclude on the tools and solutions that are proposed in this survey for changing the gender bias. The first one is to identify and give more visibility to the role models, but not only the role model, also all the existing women that are part of the system. The second is the mentoring system that is proposed and supported with men and women, not only women, but a lot of empathy that is needed and listening for expertise and experience. Empathy is really an important word, and it's needed in the management, but also in the team working. What is also expected from the women is virtual places where they can talk, listen, and share. A network of women, in fact, of women, but also open to men. It's not a necessity to be only between women, but it should be really dedicated to exchange personal experience and expertise with empathy, as always. Being close to human beings is also closer to Copernicus users. As psychological support, we expect to increase the self-confidence of women. Another thing that is really important for this woman is the international connection that is provided by projects around the world in Copernicus program, the link to in situ and the link to the users in the holistic vision. What is expected, of course, is the implementation of policies aimed at achieving gender balance in the workplace. As you can see, there is a lot of material in this survey, so I want to thank all the participants, and I'm supposing that a lot are members of this EOcafe, so I take the opportunity to say thank you to all of these participants. We did the effort of translating the survey, so main participants are coming from the language that we have proposed: France, Germany, Belgium, Italy, Spain, and UK, also Austria and Greece. But as you can see on the map, there are also women from outside Europe in this survey. Of course, we are only presenting you the first result. There are still a lot of analyses that are ongoing. The report will be published at the end of October, so still some time to process the data, and the results will be published on the website. So stay tuned if you want to have more information, such as the figure that you can see on the right. I want to finish my presentation and start the debate with the leitmotif. So this sentence to be repeated every day to girls and women. These are coming from the survey, from the women themselves to transfer to the other. Dream big, be self-confident, know that you have a place and a role. I think these kind of sentences can be shared around, and it can perhaps make a better world. Thank you. So you can find here the 3 emails of the 3 project partners. Marie is the project leader. I'm not the first one, but Marie is the project leader. And so feel free to contact us if you have any question. Jeff, I give you the floor.
Natalie, thank you very much. That's great. I think your point about including men in the training is more than made by looking at the balance of participation in this EOcafe, which is a real shame. Great. Thank you. Maybe I could start. I mean, we've two other panelists, Dinka and Agnieszka. Would you like to just give your reflection on the study and the questions that were being asked, and indeed on women in Copernicus? Dinka, can I turn to you first?
Yes. Thank you, Geoff, and thank you. I feel really privileged to be surrounded by all these amazing women and men sensitive to the issues we are discussing, such an important topic today. I find this study really interesting, and the mission of this project I really admire, to give a face and a voice to the women in Copernicus. It's really an admirable objective. And I would be very interested to see all the detailed results. But from what I see, my first reaction is, first, I'm not surprised by what is coming out of the study. I'm not surprised first because I've seen all the women I have seen working on this program have always been so enthusiastic and so passionate about it. So I'm really not surprised that they're proud of what they do and of their achievements. I'm also not surprised because I think that these results reflect the situation of women across sectors. Maybe space is a bit of a peculiar sector because of its high-tech nature, because it's historically perceived more as a male-dominated environment. But I think that the issues that you're describing are perhaps not necessarily an isolated case in space or Copernicus, but it's what issues that women face in our societies today. But on a positive note, I think that progress has been made. And I don't have hard figures as Geoff showed us in the beginning, but from just my experience as a woman working in space, in 11 years, I have seen a lot of progress inside the Commission. When I joined, there were much fewer women working for space in the Commission. And I know it's an isolated experience, but I think that it gives a trend. Women are much more present. They are more present even in management positions. So progress is made, but maybe not at the pace that we would like or women deserve it to be. And we should strive to achieve more and achieve it faster. And I think there are tools and policies are being put in place in the European Union. We have different gender equality strategies. The latest one is from March of this year. The European Commission president, the first woman president of an EU institution, she has embraced this as one of her main priorities, and she has set very high targets even for the institution itself to achieve a parity of 50% men, women in all levels of management within the Commission, and to increase the role of women in management in the EU agencies. And I think she would be pushing this agenda very forcefully also towards other EU institutions and towards the member states, so that progress will be made much faster. And my last point is really that perhaps we should reflect on the changing nature of our sector, the Earth observation sector. I see that women mostly engaged on the user, the services side of the industry. But let's look at it positively, because I think when we talk of Copernicus, in the last years, the mantra has been it's a user-driven program. So I think that this link to the user is at the core of the program. So instead of perceiving ourselves as having a marginal role in the program, I would rather tend to think that we are at the core of this program with the empathy and the human connection that women can bring. So these would be my three first reflections on these short results of the survey. I'm really glad to be part of this conversation today, and glad and honored to be surrounded by amazing women. So the floor to you, Geoff.
Thanks, Dinka. I'll come back on one or two of those points maybe later. Agnieszka?
Yes, thank you. Likewise, like Jinka, I'm very excited to be here and among so many wonderful women and few of those brave men who are willing to support and actually dedicate their time to it. I was really, really touched when I saw this initiative to start. I think I saw it on Twitter for the first time, the Women in Copernicus, and I could immediately identify with it, and I felt like I could be part of this, so thank you for organizing this, because I think it's important to get together and kind of create this community. At the same time, I'm not, those that know me, they know, I'm not the whiner type. I'm the action type. So instead of just complaining all the time how difficult our situation is, what can we do to change it? Actually, that's what I'm interested in. And so therefore initiatives like this one really show demonstrate action, and this is what I like. I think, just recently, as you probably know, in the United States, a very, very special and amazing woman has passed, a Justice Ruth Grainsburg of the Supreme Court, who really was fighting very, very hard for women's rights and many others. And one of the things that she said, which I thought was extremely important, is that everywhere where decisions are made, women should be present. So, and I think that's what it is, that we have a place at the table, and we should really take that very seriously and grab that opportunity. I think one of the problems that we have today, it's not just that we live in a very patriarchal world, but also that we don't have the confidence to go for what should be obvious. And I think great example here is Ersk. I serve on the board of directors. I'm an only woman. I've been the only woman in the last 3 years, and not because I am so special, but because no other woman applied. So, and they can, and they are encouraged to, and they're open to. So why are they not applying? Because they don't feel worthy, or because they don't feel that they have something to add, or maybe they don't have time. I don't know. I cannot answer this, but I want to put it out there that there are opportunities there that we, for some reason, choose not to take. So it is a two-way street. I mean, part of it is, the world around us needs to change, but I think also we need to change a little bit more, and be proactive in the circumstances that we have. So, but yeah, I would like to leave it at that, and let's see what the other questions bring.
That's great, Agnieszka. Maybe we'll take a mission to try to increase the gender balance on the board of Ersk, but it's not obvious. It's very it's hard to see where there are women, and the problem is in the more the wider community, that that there are not women in the positions in the companies to represent, and it's a problem that starts a long way back, and one that we can do our best to try to encourage. And I come back again to the question of educating men. I mean, there should be more guys here, and maybe we need to do something dedicated to try to overcome that. Something else that came to me, I was talking with Monica yesterday, and we were talking about EO for Geo and the project looking at skills, and I was asking her if there was any sort of gender balance in there. And gender is not an issue that's being dealt with in EO for Geo. But one thing she said, and it actually struck me as very, very relevant, very interesting, was that the advisory board is 50-50 and is composed to be 50-50. Now that's something where there can be an influence and can feed forward into future policy. So maybe there are some ideas around that we could adopt. Natalie, did you have any? Well, let me ask each of you, in terms of you've all reached quite senior positions within this community. Was that something that was planned? What did you do to develop your own careers? Is there anything from that that you would advise young girls starting out, leaving university, starting out in the sector today? What advice would you give them?
I think from my side, I would not say that I'm at a senior position. I'm perhaps also one bad example, I would say. I'm trying to promote Copernicus ring sensing, and I'm doing it in all the positions I had from university research center and private companies. But my will to be as close as possible to the user finally end up to arrive to local authorities. So I'm working from my region, and as close as the user, it's really a choice. And then I'm not senior. I'm expert in my domain. So I'm providing advice and making my own choices. But I'm not in the hierarchy and in the management, and that's something that, for example, in the local authorities, the technical expert, the scientific people, are not at the top level of the administration. The scientists are a kind of advisor, but in the administration, the hierarchy is held by administration bodies.
But sorry, I recall in my own career, there comes the point when you have to make a choice, which direction you're going in, and sometimes that can be hard. That's. I don't think I'm not. Well, tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's a gender issue in that. I think it's a personal issue. Whether you want to be on a technical role or whether you want to enter into a management role.
Oh, I think you can also make some choice to be visible. And when I've seen all the reading of this survey, I think a lot of women express the same thing as me. Is they don't really want to be visible; they want to be useful.
Tinker?
Yeah, I think for me, it's been like probably for everybody else. It's a little bit of also luck and chance. Not all the choices that I've made in my career have been particularly deliberate. I mean, ending up in space has been just good luck for me. I joined the commission. I had absolutely no background in space, unlike many of you. And but there I am, 11 years on. I'm still in space. I think there's something about this sector that attracts people, and you cannot leave because it's really fascinating. I wouldn't consider myself really at a top management position. I'm not. I'm middle management within the institution. Has it been really easy? I don't know. I personally have not experienced obstacles, but it's a very complex choice. You have a work-life balance choices to make. Women are parents, mothers, cooks, carers. So there's a lot of those burden. The care burden is on the women, and sometimes we don't. I mean, men probably are not sensitive enough to this. So when you say women don't want to be visible, maybe this is true, but maybe it is because they have so many other functions that they need to fill that they would make the choice to remain rather behind the scene and do their job right, but not really fight for this visibility, for being in a position of power. But it's true also that our societies have been quite patriarchal for many years. And look at the place of women in power, in decision making. Things are changing, but we still have a very long way to go. I think that there are probably about less than 10% of women in the biggest companies in the EU, and it speaks at the management position, and it speaks a lot for itself. So I think it's a mix. But my advice is just go for it. Don't be intimidated. I know it has not been easy for a young woman in this sector to sit around a table with respectable elderly gentlemen and try to really fight for yourself and stand up for yourself. But this is the only way to go, as Agnieszka said. We really need to fight for ourselves and fight for what we are worth.
Is it a question of outgunning the men or being different to the men?
Sorry?
Is it a question of outgunning? So outgunning the men, being more aggressive, more.
No,
you talk about fighting for a position.
I don't think we should emulate this aggressive behavior. No, I think women have other qualities, as your survey has chosen, empathy, and it's becoming increasingly important in management, and women have this. And I'm not saying men don't, but I think we should play on our strong sides rather than trying to be the men in our career.
I completely agree with that, but I've seen so many women who don't follow that role, who follow exactly the opposite role. Agnieszka, that's not meant to be a lead-in to discuss with you, but your views.
Yeah, but that's super interesting, because what you're saying, because I think that is changing a little bit, and I'm glad it is. I don't think the solution here is to be like a man, act like a man, behave like a man, because we're not. Yeah. And I think we should embrace who we are, and we should embrace our strengths and our added value, which is a little bit different, and that's fine, and that's great. So so I remember, when I was first starting, somebody was telling me that when I was going to a meeting, it's best if I wear like a pantsuit, so suit but with pants, and not to like color my nails or whatever, and and I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, those who know me, know obviously I would rebel against that, especially when it comes to clothing. But but I was like, wait a minute, like I am who I am, and I'm not gonna I refuse to act like try to pretend that I'm a man, because I'm not, and I have a great dress and I'm gonna wear it, and my nails are red, and be aware. Yeah. I mean, it's so I don't think I think let's just be ourselves and be respectful, but be ourselves. And the thing is about the career choices, what you were asking, it's I'm just like similarly, I agree with Dinka that a lot of times it's luck, and just places where you end up just kind of works out like that. My entire career hasn't been like really premeditated at all. Just one thing led to another, and it worked out. It is a lot of times about choices, but for me the choices were right, were very at that particular moment. They were not premeditated much. But I also really would like to say something about what Natalie was saying, which I really liked. She said that we don't all have to be managers, like we should be useful. And I really like that, because that's the point. I don't think, and I think this applies both to men and women. Like, let's not, propagate this rat race where we all, want to be at the finish line first. It's too many chiefs, not enough Indians has never worked for anyone. And we don't all have to be bosses. This is not what demonstrates your worth. What demonstrates your worth is the quality of the work that you're doing, and the benefit to the sector, whatever sector you're in, that you're providing. So my advice to young women who are, who are just coming out of university would be to, first of all, ask yourself, what is really your passion and what are you really good at, and just focus on that and be the best you can be in that particular thing. And that's it. And some women will want to be front and be visible and be very ambitious and be very climb the ladder. Other women are totally fine working in the background and making sure that things work well, and there's room for everyone. So I don't think the success is measured by the position you have in the company, but rather by how happy you are and fulfilled with what you're doing, and how useful that is to the society or to the sector or to the community. So my advice would be, be true to yourself. Don't study something, because let's say I come from a family of doctors, therefore I have to be a doctor because my parents are going to be disappointed otherwise. Like, be really true to yourself. And I think this is where you need to have, I wanted to use a bad word. No, I'm going to have to rephrase my sentence. This is where you have to be courageous. This is where you need to be courageous to really follow, your true path. And I think that's the key. And don't be, and as Dinka said, and then go for it. So don't be afraid. Like it's, I think we are quite fortunate, both the Dinka and I, that, our careers, even though quite different, have worked out. I mean, we were still, obviously, we're far from being over, but because like we went for it, so I think that would be my advice.
More and better mentoring, coaching, and role models, which are largely missing, would be, I think, very helpful there. You mentioned Ruth Ginsburg just now, and she was a fantastic role model. Benta's been putting some comments into the chat. Benta, do you want to come in?
Sure. Hi. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you for very interesting presentations and dialogue afterwards. I really appreciated that. I was picking up on you, Natalie, in your presentation that you were, the outcome of the survey was to have role models. And Next GEOS, I'm putting on my Next GEOS hat, which is a Horizon 2020 project.
No publicity.
No publicity. No, but just I'm Norwegian. I'm a Viking. Okay. No, so just because the way I want, we are promoting and making Copernicus data accessible. That's the context of this of the discussion, because this is Women in Copernicus, and we have then twice on the 8th of March. We have dedicated a webinar, an educational webinar, showcasing our different experts, women experts, all women webinars, just to show, as you say, I totally agree with you, that having role models, and different ones, as you said, Dinka and Agnieszka, you are two different, you have two different profiles. And I think this is, just showing that you can be a Viking, or you can be, coming from southern Spain, or you can be, you can do management, you can be a really, really deep, nerdy person, and it's room for you. There's always other women who have done that, and showcasing that, I think that will help. And Jeff, one more thing, by the way. In GEO, so I'm a member of the GEO program board, the group on Earth observation, and we just identified the same problem that we are discussing here. And that is the representation of women. That's how we started, the gender balance. And then we looked at also geography and age and so on. But we are, I will encourage you to look into collaboration, particularly this project maybe, that presented here, that maybe we would really connect with you. There's a subgroup in the program board addressing these issues. I got the task to find somebody who would like to study GEO and do a similar kind of analysis of the representation and so on. So we are looking for collaborations with that respect. So it would be great to keep in touch and see if we can have some common interest. Thank you.
Let's pass that to Natalie. But there's a sort of implied question in there as well, which I know we wanted to try and come on to, which was around how can we keep this moving? How can we keep this moving forward? What resources are there? Can it all continue based on voluntary, which has been the case so far? I don't think so. I think there needs to be something more. So what can we do to keep this sort of activity moving forward in the profile in the sort of public domain?
So I think apologies sorry, Natalie, apologies for jumping in, but I have another meeting right now, so I have to go. So I would like to thank everyone for participating today. And just FYI, when the crazy pandemic ends, and I'm sure it ends, you know, we're gonna go back to the ladies' night out, space ladies' night out in Brussels. So
it's not space ladies, it's space girls, and that was going to be my question. Why is it space girls and women in Copernicus? Sorry,
it's gonna be one happy family. But thank you very much, and don't give up.
Thanks, Agnieszka. Thanks for coming in. See you soon.
I can just point one, because in the interview you were asking what will be next for this project, what was expected. I hope you have some kind of answer and you will follow us.
Absolutely, definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Agnieszka.
Jeff, if I can also jump in, I think it's for me, what's important is to keep this conversation going. Whether this is on a voluntary basis or part of another project, I don't know, but we can certainly keep the dialogue going and try to sensitize our colleagues, our male colleagues, of the issues that women are facing. And in that vein, and I will do my marketing as well, but we have a EU Space Week coming up in December, and this year now we are designing the program, and this year we have decided to have a dedicated session on space for diversity and gender equality. So I think this will be another platform to talk about. I'll be delighted to invite all of you there. So we can continue the conversation going, and then really see within the Commission. I think there's lots of policies. One of the mantras now is to fight gender stereotypes, to mainstream gender equality into public policies, and this is true for the Commission at EU level, but it should be true also for our member states, for the local level, that a gender perspective needs to be integrated in the various policies that our public administrations are putting in place. So I think it first starts with the awareness and the sensitization, but then this should be translated into something tangible. So I do agree that lots of it are personal choices, but personal choices where you need to have equal opportunities to pursue whatever path you would like to pursue in life, whether you're a boy or a girl, and have really equal chances for equal pay, for equal access to decision-making positions, to equal access to power. Because I think if we have to put a finger on the problem, this is where it is. I mean, women are absent from these decision-making positions, whether this is in the private sector or the public. So I think we start with the conversation, but really we have to push forward with some more practical solutions, and I'm glad that some of those are hinted in the survey, and women are coming with positive ideas of how issues can be tackled.
Well, from a personal point of view, I'm very happy to help continue the dialogue moving forward, but clearly I can only play a supporting role in that. Sorry, I've lost things. Daria is she still here? She's asking a question in the Daria, do you want to pose your question? You're talking about links to other organizations and other networks.
Well, hi everyone. Let me see if I can turn the camera on. Well, honestly, I think we already got the answer in the chat. So, but I much appreciate that there is actually a connection, because as I noticed, so Women Geospatial Group is actually facing the same issues as apparently here. So representation, confidence, training, kind of. And actually, I just had a conversation with another member yesterday about this. So I just thought maybe there would be an opportunity to streamline maybe policy or communications regarding diversity, or the encouragement of women to follow a STEM path between the two organizations. I think there's just a lot in common.
Okay, thanks, Stefan. I think you're right. I was making the same reflection, and I think it's a real missed opportunity to have more guys present in this discussion, and I think it's a strong reflection of the issue, frankly. Anyone else want to ask any questions? Thanks, Natasha. Natasha, do you want to come in?
I'm here.
We know you're there, but very silent.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you and
Yes.
see you.
Yeah. Perfect.
So you've been one of the the motivators for the project. You're working in ERSC. It's an issue I know is very close to your heart. Any observations from what you've heard? My observation is what Stefan just pointed, and I've tried to work on that in the Twitter and social media in the last few days. It also links to what Agnieszka said. We're trying to talk about women compared to women in general, in geospatial here and there, but there are not men around. I have been privileged to be surrounded by men like you, Jeff, and Rory, and Manuel, and Chris, who have been supporting us all the time, but I do know that's not the case in other organizations. So, we tried a lot to mobilize the men community, but as you can see, they're not here. That's why, I was making a joke before, Stefan, you write this, that the next EOcafe, or at least not the next, but one of the next one is going to be only for men, and you should all help on that to corner them and discuss the final results of this very interesting survey. So yeah. That's kind of my plan. Of course, I haven't shared with the rest, but I think it makes sense to organize something like that. And again, we need to corner these guys. You'll have to push them, I think. Yeah, push them into the meeting room. Yes, exactly. And it has to come from all of us. I mean, we have to request our bosses, our colleagues, our husbands, partners to be part of the whole discussion. And again, I have been privileged always from my family, from my husband, from all my male colleagues all along these years. And that's why, I was lucky, and I want this likeness, I don't know if it was by accident or not, I want to carry on also to other people I know, and later on to my own daughter. But that's not always the case for all the women and girls out there. So Jeff, yes, we started with Space Girls because we feel young in heart. And by default, we carry on in Women in Copernicus, just because. Because I know that you want to know about this. Thank you. I've told you before, but when I said to my daughter that I was off to a Space Girls evening, she said, "You can't say that. You can't say it." Yeah, I know. She was very upset. Marie, you've been sort of at the heart conducting this study, leading this study. Any observations you want to bring into the conversation?
I think for now we really focused on the questionnaire, on the survey, and we didn't really look around all the other projects. And for the future, I think we will have to talk with the other groups and work together. And also we will need resources to do that. And I think for us, it is a first step, and it was really useful to put the light on this woman, but there is still a lot of work to do, both with women and with men. And I just want to say thank you to all of the women who answered. Many of them are here today, and reading all the answers is really inspiring, and all these testimonials are really, really interesting, and we are going to try to put it faithfully on our results, and it's like a kind of responsibility for us, but we are very happy to do this work.
Is there the possibility of a website or something where we can, you can direct people, you can put this recording, you can sort of create?
There is already a website.
There is already.
Yes.
Okay.
there is a website, and we will publish the results, and maybe later create a group. This is many women suggest this to create like a forum. I don't know. Maybe we need to think about the form, but for now, just present the results. But it could become a website to exchange together.
Okay. So
Marie, you can perhaps talk also about the video that we plan to have.
Yes, in the results we have many quantitative results with all the questions, but we also have many testimonials. We want to make them more visible, and we asked the women to record self-made videos in order to talk about their background, the difficulties and the opportunities they encountered. And we will publish it also. So if some of them are here, I encourage you to record this self-made video. We will put it on the website.
Okay, thanks. Any of the other guys want to say anything? Stefan, you said a couple of things in the chat, but please.
Well, I can say I'm ashamed of being the only male member of ERSC in this call. I think it's a shame, seriously.
Yeah.
Those of you who know me know that we are making every effort to be diverse in every sense of the word in our company. Some others also know that I have personally done my best to promote through Twitter at least, the questionnaire, and I was very happy to see the response. And I can tell you, you can count on me to make sure that indeed we maybe organize an all-male session, and I will tell my fellow members that I am ashamed. I'm ashamed that they're not around this table. I don't think it's just not normal. Nothing else to say.
Okay, thanks. We'll
perhaps you ought to do another survey for our male colleagues only, how they perceive the issue of gender inequality.
Let's do a male.
Absolutely, I was thinking that, Dinka.
And compare.
Yeah.
Let's do a male perceptions of women in Copernicus survey.
Yes.
No. I would use the same survey and do it on men and see how men answer.
One thing I forgot to say, I think it's a brilliant use of public money within the Coordinate project to have funded. I was part of the setup of that project and their advisory board, and I'm really proud also that that you came up with the idea or the proponents, and that they decided to fund this thing because again, it shows a lot of interesting things, and should be the basis of something that should become sustainable.
I want to say that some men answered the survey, so they were really keen to do it. So not a lot, of course, because the first question was, "Are you a woman?" But some finally did all the answers, so they were really keen to do that, and I would propose to do the same for men. I think it would be a good idea.
See what we can do. I didn't introduce at the beginning. I should have done my own bad, but the EOcafe is normally scheduled for about 45 minutes, so up till 4:45. But we have 15 minutes extra to keep everyone, and we keep the cafe open for anyone who wishes to discuss at the end. So what I'm going to do now is close off the sort of the formal part, if it's ever formal, to close that off and just invite anybody to join in discussions before we finish. The next EOcafe will be at the same time in 2 weeks' time. We're going to be looking at the space program and how that's progressing under the German presidency, what's happening with the budget, with the responsibilities. So any aspect is open for discussion. So hope to see you or some of you at that EOcafe, and we'll get a lot more men for that one, I'm pretty certain. So at that point, let me thank our three speakers. Thank Marie as well for her work in putting all this together, and wish you all a great evening, and close the formal part of the cafe. But you're very welcome to stay and discuss and chat and whatever you like. But I turn off the recording now. Thanks. Bye.